So we just need a recession, is what we're saying.
We need a recession to remove some downforce.
Right. If to get rid of the downforce, we need a recession.
We need to cut some engineering budgets.
Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid-taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk about
stand
race
was
cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever. Hello, welcome to the Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined, as always, by my buddy, Landon Cassill. I'm in Connecticut. Landon, you are in Las Vegas. We are going to talk about all things motorsports around the motorsports world. But before we get into any of that, you just did something unbelievable, remarkable in some respects. You were invited. You won a raffle to be to drive a supercar in Las Vegas on a track, something new and different. For you, a man of 500 some odd starts in the NASCAR top three series, finally got to drive on a track. What was the experience like? I saw the we'll get into the record, but what was it like?
Have you ever done a supercar driving experience? Show of hands for those in the crowd. Who has done that?
No, I never had to do it there. I hosted a car show for 3 years where I drove supercars on tracks.
So you've driven like all these cars.
Every single one. You name one, I've driven it.
So we were at Speed Vegas. It was cool. I drove the Acura NSX, which you weren't really thrilled about that.
No. Do you know, I think Noah Gregson's family owned that wherever. They started that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Speed Vegas.
Oh. That's cool.
They had something to do with it, maybe. I'm probably totally just made this up in my head, but I'm pretty sure he did. Yes, I've driven the NSX. I did it on the first season of Proving Grounds, the car show I hosted, and humble brag. And hey, did you know I hosted a car show?
Mm.
Yeah. And the problem with that car is that it looked great, but it just lacked soul. What's that?
A little poochy.
Well, it lacks soul. The computer gizmos take over in every aspect of the driving experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is you just cannot make a mistake. You can't force it to do anything you want it to do. It constantly thinks that it's smarter than you, which it isn't. And so yes, it can create a really fast lap time, but it's a not enjoyable fast lap if that exists. And for me, road cars, I look for the road cars to give you the most visceral experience, the most just, pure and raw experience, but then also can drive nicely on the street. That NSX, I drove it 3.5 hours on the street from LA out to Chuckwalla. And I remember it being like a cool experience and like, oh, I'm in an NSX, and I had people pulling up beside me and taking photos and, videos and that sort of thing. But when we drove on the track and in my review, I was kind of like, meh. Like, meh. I'd rather spend money elsewhere.
How much is that car?
I think they were a base of 150, I want to say, the time, maybe 180, somewhere around there.
Well, it was fun. It was fun. I didn't. It was like a big group. I kind of won this raffle. That was part of the NIADA, automotive dealer conference. It was hosted by AutoZone. So shout out to AutoZone. Thank you for putting that on. Thanks for picking me in the raffle. I'm not sure if it was rigged or not. I don't think it was rigged. It was like a whole group. There was like 60 people that all won and drove. So I did not do anything. I did not make myself the center of attention in any way. Was not trying to. Did not try to like waltz in and be like, well, Mr. NASCAR. Just I sat through the safety briefing and put my open face helmet on. And I will say that like the instructor he was all right, but it was like he was so scripted that like he completely glossed over when he was like, have you ever driven on a track like this before? And I was like, a couple times. Oh, that's great. What have you driven? And I was like, well, I'm a NASCAR driver. He's like, oh, okay. So mostly ovals. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, have you ever driven on a road course? And I was like, a few. And then he just like, it was like he just went straight to, well, the gas is on the right, the brake is on the left. Today we'd really like to be right foot braking. So put your left foot over there. And I just was like, he's put your hands on here and here. And I'm like, okay. Like it's like completely glossed over the conversation. And I was like, yeah, I'm a professional race car driver, but I'll go ahead and listen to your safety briefing here in the car. That's okay. He was just ripping through drivers, man. He's just getting through his day. That was okay. And it was fun. I mean, I had a good time on the track. It was a fun little course. But he was the instructor was like not letting me drive the car to its limit, which was weird because I did not like. It was very uncomfortable to have someone telling me what to do in the car. And it was very different than any kind of coaching I've had. Because, like, coaching, when you have a coach in your ear, they're helping you through the corner. This guy was, like, trying to slow me down. He was like, brake, sooner, brake sooner. You know, like, get off the curb. And I'm like, no. It was like, and then he put his hand on the wheel to, like, keep me, like,
oh my God,
like,
no.
I was like turning in too early, so because they have like these really exaggerated arcs. I don't understand the lines that they had at this track. They're like these really exaggerated arcs, but I'm like turning in to use a little curb and whatever. And he was like grabbing the wheel and like pulling it to keep me from. And I'm like, dude, get off.
Yeah, like, bro, get out of this thing.
Yeah, like get out of this thing. He told me when I made my first lap. Going into whatever the first turn, it's like a chicane, very kind of a similar turn to like turn 1 at Portland or something. He told me to brake like 500 feet before what was just obvious to me the braking zone was. And I think that he hit the brake pedal. I don't know if the car had a brake pedal in it or not, but like I think he hit the brake pedal one time because it just felt weird. But anyways, it was fun. Otherwise, you get 5 laps, you're done. One time on the track, so I wasn't, it was enjoyable. And then there was they had a leaderboard, so
I have it up here.
I did win. I was the fastest on the leaderboard. There was a guy that was 3 seconds slower than me. That I think he had done it before, and he also paid to go back out and try to improve his time, which like the rest of the group was eating. So shout out to that guy.
So I had the official timings in scoring, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I had a secret sleuth there to get this timing. Yeah. So you did a 57.091, 3 seconds faster than the second place. I won't dox his name. At a 1 minute 036. And then it was a stark drop off from there to 5 seconds back. And you've got last place here at 10.5 seconds slower on a minute lap.
And I had traffic on every single one of my laps. And I also had my instructor grabbing the wheel like every other corner.
If anyone ever grabbed the wheel while I was driving a car, I'd hit the brake, look at him and go, sir, you have 2 options here. Don't ever effing do that again or get out of this car. There's 2 options. I don't care what the deal is. You will never do that again.
I'm pretty sure there was at least another 5 seconds in the tank on my That's what I was feeling. I think I was still 4 or 5 seconds off of what I could have ran.
Oh, definitely.
Just between traffic and having a co-driver.
Co-driver actively trying to stop you from being fast.
Trying to stop me. And then so it was good. It was a good time. And so shout out to NIADA and AutoZone for letting me do that.
Love that. That's cool. Good times. What a funny story. I wish we had an undercover filming happening during this. Like one of those lapels and just like they have no idea there's someone being filmed.
Yeah, I was trying not to make a big deal out of it.
I know still. It would be pretty funny. But anyway, well, congratulations. You still got it. And you finally got on the track.
Something like that.
So you finally got on a road course, man. Congrats.
I know.
You've always done
fun.
ovals. Yeah.
It's road course racing is so fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. We'll talk about some road course racing as we move later on in the show. This past weekend, we had the Cup Series in Xfinity in Pocono. Chase Briscoe, friend of the show, gets it done. First win at Joe Gibbs Racing. Somehow stretches his fuel further than anyone thought was possible while driving away from Denny Hamlin. I think there was a couple things that came out of this. One, it looked incredibly hard to pass. For whatever reason. I think there was a softer Goodyear tire that just added grip, but in adding grip sort of made it that you couldn't get runs on each other, which didn't help things, probably hoping to have some more fall off, and it just wasn't evident there in that whole Goodyear softness of the tire thing that we've been talking about for 3 straight years. On Saturday, Connor Zilic finally won on a triangle. It's happened. You knew it was close. It was going to happen eventually. He did it. And his crew chief was Dale Earnhardt Jr. One and done for the old crew chiefing. Becomes the 9th driver to also crew chief and win a race, I guess, according to Seth Eggert. Was that the right number? Did I say
Great
that correctly?
Stat. There's always a stat. There's always something you can do.
He was the 9th. Yes, 9th one. So that's a pretty interesting stat for him. Of course, for a guy who just absolutely loves the history of the sport and the old school nature of the sport, to do that is kind of cool. Like, I was like, I can appreciate that. That's fun.
Yeah.
No matter what his level of involvement was, that he's listed as crew chief and wins. It's like, of course.
Yeah. The script worked out just fine.
Oh, it's perfect. Great job. Great job, script writers and everyone who executed on the script.
I'm pretty sure the Xfinity Series ratings are doing everything they can do to challenge the Cup Series ratings at this point.
We'll get into that. We will. There's a lot of theories out
sorry.
there. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to skip ahead on the.
Yeah, dude, with the show rundown here, and you're just moving ahead 6 or 7 topics. Also, that's a tease, so stick around. We're gonna get into it. Let's talk about what's coming up this weekend, though, because something kind of cool happening, and I love this. I think this is a lot of fun. There's this in-season bracket challenge that similar to what Dirty Mo Media and Denny Hamlin came up with last year. But now it's being done by NASCAR in conjunction with TNT and DraftKings, and there's $1 million prize on offer. And they got seeded off to the last 3 races. You're finishing in the last 3 races, finishing position. And now we have brackets that we filled out that I kind of want to go into. So I filled mine out. Now I found this amazing, by the way. Denny Hamlin didn't race at Mexico, yet was a number 1 seed by winning Michigan and finishing 2nd at Pocono. That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of wild if you think about it. And maybe there's something I'm missing there, but I don't know. That's just insane.
He's just stout right now.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, I think we're looking at a literal career, just in terms of career level, or career height in terms of just execution.
He's peaking.
Speed, 100%. 44 years old, just absolutely at the top of his game, and all the stuff happening around him. Obviously, he has a new baby.
He thrives in chaos, though.
He does, baby boy. He's got the chaos of the lawsuit with 2311 and all that's going on there and building that race team. And they've had sponsors added, which comes with extra work and things that he has to do and all that stuff in terms of Progressive coming on board and a couple other new sponsors. And so you're just like all this stuff swirling around, and this guy is better than ever. And that's just apparent. New crew chief on top of all that. It's just like, whoa, nothing to stop him. So I want to talk about the bracket. I guess I'll go through mine first. I have Denny beating Ty Dillon, then beating Kyle Busch, then beating Daniel Suarez, then beating Christopher Bell, getting to the final. I'm going to tell you who my winner is in a second. That's on the left side of the bracket. On the right side, I've got William Byron getting to the second round. He's going to beat Noah Gragson, where he goes up against Kyle Larson. He's going to lose there. I've got on the bottom portion of this, I've got Austin Cindric and McDowell going on to the second round, where they go versus each other, where Austin Cindric comes out on top for there. There he's against Kyle Larson, which puts Kyle Larson into the final. I've got Denny Hamlin taking the whole thing.
You're giving no love to your boy Carson Hocevar, who almost won Atlanta.
None, because there's too much going on. There's too much going on. So I think there's just too much stuff happening there. Not good for this. Secondly,
he's not poised to be aggressive right now.
Well, I also had to I wanted to just get it done, or give support early to our only listener, which is Denny Hamlin, that we support him and have him going all the way to win $1 million, which he needs because he just had another child. So probably could use. You've heard how expensive children are now these days.
Well, I have Denny Hamlin making it to the third round, but getting beat by Joey Logano. I have Chase Elliott making it to the fourth round.
Wow.
And getting beat by Joey Logano. Some notables in there. I'm trying to think of some notable upsets. Let's see here. I do have Hocevar. I thought, but I wasn't thinking of everything going on lately with him. So maybe that's a risky move on my part, but I have Hocevar going pretty far. I have him going all the way to the third round.
Yeah.
And losing to William Byron at Sonoma, I think that is.
That would be yes. No, Dover. It goes Atlanta,
Chicago,
Sonoma, Dover, Indy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I've got Byron making it all the way to the final round. I've got McDowell making it pretty far, but getting beat by Chris Buescher. So I've got Chris Buescher versus Byron to make it to the final round. I picked Byron to win that one. I've got Logano versus Elliott to go to the final round with Logano. And then Logano versus Byron in Indy. I'm going with Byron. 18 seed.
Yeah. Good choice.
I think that you gotta. I think that there's a. I think my strategy here is I picked two sort of value seeds, Logano and Byron.
Yeah,
high performing drivers that are underseeded.
Yep, smart move. I think it's something you pay attention to. I mean,
if you look at mine,
part about
because I have Logano has to beat Bowman in Atlanta. Right, and then he has to beat Bubba Wallace in Chicago.
That's
right.
Doable.
Like those are two.
Except for Logano's terrible at Chicago.
You think Bubba Wallace is going to be better?
I think he was. I think last year he was better there. I think he's been quick there.
He might be. He might.
Yeah.
Be. He might be. And then Logano.
I knew what you were thinking.
Denny at Dover. That's a tough one. That's a risk.
Yeah.
That's is it Sonoma first or Dover first? I know we just talked about that.
Sonoma first. So Logano beating Denny at Sonoma. I'll definitely take that one. Yeah, I'd take that. I would take that. Except for Denny's on a heater, and the one thing missing from his arsenal is good finishes at road courses. He's going to need it in this. He has poles at road courses. He's only won one ever. That was 2016 in Watkins Glen, basically 9 years ago. But he's like incredibly fast in qualifying at road courses, but his finishes are abysmal. Like he just does not finish well. So he's going to need that. So taking Logano on a road course versus him is a good bet in that sense. I feel that one. This is going to be fun to pay attention to. Obviously, I'm going to be working for TNT next 5 weeks with this, so it'll be fun to see how this unfolds. I just think it's ridiculous, though, that Atlanta kicks it off the first round, all the drivers involved, and literally Atlanta, like it's basically Daytona or Talladega. Any one of these can just be destroyed in one. It could be lap 2, wreck, boom, all this destroyed. Like it's just like, okay, well,
what
chaos.
We should do another bracket to see if you can pick the wrong driver in the first round on every single one of them.
That's kind of like my fantasy where I choose the worst driver each week.
That is right. Josh, do you want to put up your bracket?
Here you go.
First,
yeah.
Let's get you involved here.
So I feel like the road courses are interesting because you kind of can look at the people who perform well on road courses. If they can make it past Atlanta, I think it's really easy to see them making their way towards the semifinals pretty easily. Otherwise, if they can't make it past Atlanta, they're going to be there. It's either Michael McDowell is out round one or he's going to be out at the semifinal in my opinion. And I have him beating Chris Buescher. Just because I feel like he's been a little bit more consistent at road courses lately, but Chris Buescher's also up his pace as well. Any upsets? Do I have any upsets in there? I have Carson Hocevar over Ryan Blaney, which I think we mentioned that a little bit earlier. And I feel like that's the biggest upset. Maybe Zane Smith over Austin Cindric.
Yeah, that's a big upset. That'd be
so.
But if you're going to pick a place, Atlanta or Front Row Motorsports has been just ridiculously fast. Continually. For whatever reason. Super
100%.
Yeah, but Cindric, I mean, that's Cindric's playground.
That's it's true. He's going to just control that.
I had a hard time. I had a hard time not picking Cindric to advance through Atlanta.
Yeah, I could.
And maybe even further. Right? Like, I had Cindric versus Buescher in Chicago, and I chose Buescher just because I think he's such an underrated road course driver.
100%.
But Cindric is, obviously really good too. So that's a tough one.
If it's kind of funny. I was looking at this. I'm like, wait, where's SVG? And it's like, didn't make he got his win just a little bit too late to qualify for the top 32 point standing. So, and then Brad Keselowski surpassing Kyle Busch round one as well as my other kind of upset. I don't know if that's an upset or not.
Well, with all your guys' thoughts on Chris Buescher, what's funny is if I needed to point out an upset, I have Todd Gilliland beating Chris Buescher at Atlanta. And it's solely because I needed an upset. And I was like, Ford versus a Ford. I'm going to go FRM because Chris Buescher will end up getting involved in some stupid wreck or something, right? And or Todd Gilliland's going to have like the race of his life up there like he's done in the past at that place.
Could.
So, yeah, he definitely can, and he has there. So I was like, okay, he gets him there. But then from then on, I'm like, Austin Cindric. That's what allows Austin Cindric to get all the way through. The real matchup of my deal will be interesting is if this all plays out, you'll have McDowell versus Austin Cindric at Sonoma. So two road course drivers. That'll be fun to watch and see how it unfolds. Could you imagine, there's been some drivers who have not been excited about this. I'm not going to name names. They're typically not excited about anything. But could you imagine seeing this and not being slightly excited that this is kind of happening?
I wasn't really that excited until I started filling this out, and now we've started talking about it, and I'm like, okay, I like this. Mid-season, kind of something to break up the monotony.
Yeah.
Little palate cleanser before we start thinking about playoff time.
100%. Like, it's just, it's
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. To finish mine off, Christopher
Bell.
Oh,
yeah, you never gave us your winner.
Christopher Bell wins it all against Kyle Larson. Indy and Kyle Larson are just a match made in hell. They are never. It's just they're not going to get along.
Except for when he won last year.
Yeah, except for that part. If you minus that part. That part.
I had the same thing. I got him losing there because to that point, I was like, Indy just hates him right now. So I was like, no. He's also looking wildly human at the moment, which is unusual for Kyle Larson to look so.
Not
human.
unusual for him. It happens. It comes and goes for him.
Do you see Carson Hocevar being able to beat Kyle Larson? Do you see that being a potential upset?
Yeah, that could happen. 100%. 100%. It's just there's a lot of going on around Hocevar right now.
That's Chicago? Oof. Yeah. I mean, I have him beating Larson at Chicago.
Larson's pretty fast there. He was pretty fast. Okay, I take that back. He was really fast in the Xfinity race when I was up against him late in the race. So I had internal insight. But you know what would also be fast, Landon?
What's that?
If you ordered a diecast of the winner of the bracket challenge from
Do you think that they will make a diecast for, like, you could just do a diecast for the whole bracket?
I think so. I think if you win this first one ever, I bet they do. If it's a unique scheme, especially
Well, if you're trying to make the collection of the entire mid-season, what are they calling it? Mid-season,
In-season tournament.
in-season tournament, then you have got to check out SpoilerDiecast.com. These guys have your best chance of being able to collect every single car that is running in the in-season tournament. They're one of the SpoilerDiecast.com is one of the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there, and for good reason, Parker. They ship same or next day, which is what I think you were getting at earlier when you were trying to
I was trying to
lead
connect.
into this.
Yeah.
So your
attempted.
order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have a massive selection, over 1,900 products in stock, mostly NASCAR, and they've got dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1, a little bit of everything. They've got free shipping right now on orders over $100, and you get a free NASCAR T-shirt at any random just like a random driver, I guess, when you use promo code MONEYLAP. So just comment your preferred size in the order notes. We're going to keep that one going through the end of June here. So another week, free shipping and over $100 on orders over $100 and a free shirt. Promo code MONEYLAP. So whether you're hunting down a rare piece or you're trying to build out your in-season tournament of diecast, go to SpoilerDiecast.com. Use promo code MONEYLAP. Take advantage of your free shipping and that T-shirt.
Love it. Very cool. Thank you, SpoilerDiecast.com. We appreciate your support, as always. Love those guys. Good dudes. Having a chat with them this week, actually. Hopefully, see if we can align on time to chat. I want to talk about something else that came up on the internets this week that you found interesting, and I know you love this sort of stuff, and you've talked about it here on this show, and that is NASCAR Man on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, posted a graph showing pounds of downforce generated by Cup cars since the mid-1980s. Today's cars generate somewhere over 2,000 pounds of downforce in clean air, and this graph basically shows how the amount of downforce has gone from, well, negative. They've created a lift back in the day to, they basically got to a negligible amount in the mid 1990s. And then you start to see this graph head up as they start to discover aero. They hit about 1,000 pounds in 2000 and head on over to like a roughly 2,500 or 1,500 pounds through most of the mid 2000s, which, by the way, this is a bit arbitrary because where he's getting the numbers are from different sources, and you don't really, what became the Twisted Sister sort of thing is tough to say what the level of downforce was because those cars, were closely held secret as to what they had. And then the high downforce era comes around 2014, and it goes all the way up to almost 3,000 pounds of downforce, which was kind of interesting. And it's kind of fluctuated from there ever since.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I think it's important to point out. So, well, first of all, so this is the study that we've been needing for so long, because and it's not a full-on study. This is what you're saying about the sources, but these are the numbers that we've needed for so long, because I have felt like we have been gaslit into thinking low downforce package is some kind of actual low downforce, right? Remember through the late 2000 teens, right? 2017, 2020, getting into that back and forth in the last few years, we talk about quote unquote low downforce, but yet low downforce you and I have driven these cars, right? We know what low downforce is and isn't, and what they told us is low downforce is not low downforce, right? And this graph sort of gives you an insight into that. Now, again, the sources here on this, it's not like hard data. What was done here that I appreciate is, and I think it was NASCAR Man that maybe he did the research, because he's the one who posted it and he didn't reference anybody. So I think he did the research here. He kind of took any kind of public quotes or articles throughout the years. He probably used J-Ski maybe.
Yeah.
And it seems like he took anybody that referenced aero or downforce throughout the years and use those as sort of the data points, right? So little anecdotal, I think, is that maybe the right way to say it?
Anecdotal. Yep.
Anecdotal. But I mean, I still think I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but I don't know. It looks right? So what's interesting to me is, in 2017-ish era, and then back up to 2020 and then back down. This low downforce of the modern era is actually still more down, as much, if not more downforce than the late 2000s or early 2000s, right? And, so there's no, it just tells me that like if you truly wanted to try low downforce, we got a long ways to go there.
Is it even possible?
I don't know.
I'm
sure. I mean, I have no idea.
Like,
I have no idea, because I know it does. I mean, in the testing of the last couple of years, I think NASCAR has made some valiant efforts to try taking downforce off the cars. I don't know what the results of that have been and what their limitations are. Is it possible to take that much downforce off the cars? I don't know.
Because the without restricting how they actually set up the car, just a basic or more, but being more restrictive on the body shape. Remember, the manufacturers have some influence on the body shape, especially the front nose and that sort of area. And so they that's how they create this downforce. They create the fronts into being almost like wings. And it was to get away from the Gen 4 Twisted Sister era, where the car was molded and shaped into this crazy looking form that was almost looked bent or pre-wrecked at times if you just never seen one before, and totally lopsided. But they were creating tons of downforce, but yet most likely,
weren't, though.
Well, I'm saying from these numbers, if these numbers are to be trusted, right? And who knows what those numbers were then? It wasn't a lot of downforce, though. Like, even with all that, it wasn't a ton of downforce compared to what these race cars create now.
Right.
So
yeah, like the whole Twisted Sister era was just over 1,500 pounds of downforce, which is right around where the low downforce Gen 6 was, right, in 2017, 2018. So, and I hate you for making me say Twisted Sister. That's like my least favorite.
It's the stupidest term
of that car.
I'm so glad you said that, because I hate that term. I don't even know why I say it or where it came from.
It came from Darrell Waltrip.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and it's
I hate it. I want it out of my brain.
Anyway, stop saying it. Call it a Gen 5. I don't know.
All right.
Is it Gen 4?
Gen 4.
The Gen 4 car? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gen 4 car. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that generation of car where the bodies were twisted up and they were all handmade, if you really, really love stock car racing, then you probably love those cars because they're beautiful and you can appreciate like the skill that it took to make those cars. That's why people love those cars, and the detail involved of every body line and the shape of all the fenders. So those are incredible cars to look at and watch race, but they did not have a whole boatload of downforce. They had 1,500 pounds of downforce, about, according to this research, if it's accurate. But we skyrocketed in the 2010s, 2013, 14, and that was big spoilers era of the Gen 6 car. When they took away ride heights and all that stuff, still had long side skirts and whatnot. 3,000 pounds of downforce.
You know what this graph makes me think as well? And this shows I listen to too many like business podcasts and that sort of thing. But I bet you could overlay the S&P 500 over this graph. Follows it pretty similarly. Is there something to do with economic gains and downforce gains? I don't know, but I'm thinking the correlation is pretty suspect.
Yes, if there is, it's because the teams get more sponsorship money, can do more research, they find more downforce.
Great point. That is true.
Market goes up.
Grows. Market goes up. More money for everyone. More money to spend on race cars. Downforce goes up. So we just need a recession, is what we're saying.
We need a recession to remove some downforce.
Yeah, right. If to get rid of the downforce, we need a recession.
We need to cut some engineering budgets.
I can promise you, there is not a single other NASCAR show that just that terminology and questioning. Anyway, well, I think it's fascinating. It's cool. I wonder if it's ever possible to get lower than where it's at, because I truly believe that you just have too much information, and the only way would be to literally restrict the body designs to be have very little identification because they're very smart in how they design these things. So one car that's got a pretty consistent set of downforce, and that's because there's not enough money and not enough GDP growth to fund the wind tunnel time, nor is it allowed to make it have more downforce. That is the NASCAR Xfinity Series car. I was not on the broadcast this past weekend, but 1.1 million viewers watched Pocono. This isn't a continuation of the streak because the 1 million plus streak broke at Nashville with 990,000 or 987,000. It went even lower at Mexico, and now it's shot back up to 1.1 million viewers. I'm not going to say that I'm taking this personally, but I was on the Nashville and the Mexico broadcast. Jim McMurray was not. He comes back 1.1 million viewers again. What the hell, people? What is wrong with you guys?
Jamie, I don't know. What's wrong with you?
At him. I know.
What's wrong with you?
What did I do to you? What did I do to you, people? So this makes it the most watched NASCAR Xfinity Series race from Pocono since 2020. It was up 21% compared to last year. And the race peaked at 1.575 million viewers from 6 to 6:15. Now, the one thing I will say, it was known pretty much early in the week, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 15-time most popular driver, was a crew chief for the first time ever. And Chase Elliott, current 9 million time until the end of his career most popular driver, was racing in the race. Those two things. I'm not saying Jamie McMurray wasn't the draw. Jamie, you know I love you. But those two things could have had an effect. To your point earlier in the show, you mentioned how it's encroaching on Cup Series. I haven't seen the ratings for the Cup Series, but the week prior was under 2 million on Amazon. So this had to get damn close, I would assume.
It's funny, we put so much emphasis like on the tracks that we should be going to, and Pocono takes so much heat because it can be a boring race or whatever, but it's like Pocono, Nashville, Mexico. $100 bet which one of those races had the most viewership. Would you have won that bet or lost the bet?
I would have lost it because I would have guessed it was Mexico.
Exactly.
So, yeah, nope, totally would have lost. Totally would have lost that one. Hey, I don't know what this is. Josh, you've put this in our show notes. South Africa is sponsoring Anthony Alfredo. What is happening here?
Is there questions? You said it.
Well, is it the country? The South Africa,
brand South Africa sponsoring and several. It's brand South Africa and several leading South African organizations will sponsor Anthony Alfredo.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right, it's a new one.
A couple of different just brands down in that part of the world, and it's interesting because we'll loop back to this in the Formula One part, but something else happened as well.
Okay. All right. Well, good to see Anthony Alfredo get new sponsorship, and a very unusual one to be from South Africa. So that's what their goal is there.
Just imagine us racing in South Africa. Mexico was already, that was entertaining to watch. The industry try to get down there.
Well, for a long time, Johannesburg was like the carjacking capital of the world, I want to say. So, and F1 has been trying to go back there. So it's, although I think it's supposed to be a beautiful place, I have not been. And there's great white sharks off the in the waters. I know that. I've seen enough nature documentaries to know that a lot of great white sharks down there, which I would like to see from afar on the land.
Okay.
Speaking of road course races, this coming weekend, the biggest motorsport event in Connecticut in 2025 is occurring. That is the NASCAR Truck Series at Lime Rock Park. I unfortunately will not be there. I will be in Atlanta working for TNT. And this is really cool. 35 trucks. A massive crowd is expected. The largest crowd in modern day Lime Rock history, which is cool to see everyone supporting it and everyone who's hit me up on social media asking for this to happen. It is happening. I've had a lot of drivers reach out to me. I've had some of the people in the TV broadcasts reach out to me, asking me about this track and what to expect. I've had teams ask me about setups. I've tried to lead them all in the wrong direction so we get an even better show. So I apologize to all of you. I'm just kidding. But no, this is a really cool thing, and I think this is going to be a really, really big race. I think this is the marquee race for the Truck Series in 2025.
You think so?
100%. It has to be. Just from the
you and
attendance alone.
You and I have talked about this before, maybe even on the show. What I'm looking forward to the most about Lime Rock and the Truck Series, and just NASCAR in general, having a race at Lime Rock, is that to me, Lime Rock is like the short track of road courses.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not that we're just going to another road course. This road course is a little bit more unique to me. It's a short road course. It's a shorter lap time. There's, I don't know. There's just going to be opportunities to see stock car racing on a road course.
So I think great point. And the IMSA guys, they used to come here, and the GT cars would come here for the GT only events. They would call it a bull ring because this is like condensed. It's a Bristol of road courses, and yet it has something that not a single other NASCAR race will have it yet, or on purpose, for the rest of 2025 and probably for the foreseeable future. And that is a jump. There will be there's an uphill on the backside that is going to launch at least 2 tires, maybe 4 tires in the air. They will have sub 1 minute lap times. Guarantee that. So that's gonna be in terms of lap times.
Will the cars actually leave the ground?
Yeah, normally they do. So all the Trans Am cars are always 4 tires in the air. GT cars get 4 tires in the air over it. Yeah, I expect to have photos of a NASCAR Truck Series truck
at least
4 tires in the air. Yeah, at least in qualifying for sure. So that's the uphill's super fast. And if you're committed and you do it right, I think that thing's going in the air.
How are they not over rev?
It's you just naturally I don't know how to explain it, but as the car releases up the hill and everything, you just sort of naturally know to take back the throttle, that sort of stuff, and you sense it. And the biggest thing though, and I tell this to everyone, I was like, the number one thing they'll tell you at Lime Rock is that when you launch off the hill, get your wheel straight, because wherever your wheel's pointing when you land, you're headed in that direction. Somebody's going to find that out, by the way. I guarantee in practice, qualifying, or definitely the race, they will find out that if you launch over that hill and don't have your wheels pointing the right direction, bad things will occur. So it's going to be super cool. A lot of changes and different drivers that are descending upon the series, including Rodney Sandstorm, a.k.a. Jordan Taylor, IMSA driver, will be racing in the Truck Series in the number 7 truck for Spire Motorsports. So that'll be fun. Very cool. Shall we move into F1?
Let's move into F1.
All right. Josh, once again, you've put something in here that I can't even read the whole thing. What is this? Sebastian Vettel has confirmed for what?
Well, talks over F1 return with Red Bull.
What is this? There's no way. Successor. I see. He's taking a management position. I was like, what are you talking about? Okay.
I was waiting for you to get that. So what exactly is this? Is this rumor here?
He's going to replace our favorite person,
Helmut Marko.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we'll lose. The F1 media would have a collective cry fest because they'd lose about 90% of their quotes that they use for all media content around F1 if Helmut Marko loses his position or retires or moves on. It'd be a disaster. What will we talk about?
So they're saying that he is the potential successor to Dr. Helmut Marko as the head of the Red Bull Young Driver Program. So Vettel, was really I think they're saying the first truly successful graduate. Is he the only successful graduate other than
Max Verstappen? I got to think for a second. I mean, it depends how you define success, but yeah, I think they're the only two that have gone on to become 4-time F1 world champions.
I guess I mean, is that worth maybe that makes it worth it. Anyways,
there's a lot of drivers who have had Red Bull support who have gone on to become longtime professional race car drivers at high levels. Throughout Formula E, there's got to be 5 or 6 in WEC or Splash Hypercar, Sports Car, IMSA. There's got to be 3 or 4, 5 or 6. There's obviously in Red Bull we had them. Scott Speed.
So what's interesting to me is okay, so they're talking about this. He's a potential successor. There's obviously no details here and no real plan that's been shared.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could be completely wrong. Maybe they'll announce something next week that Helmut Marko is retiring. But Helmut Marko strikes me as one of the dudes that comes out and says that he's going to retire soon, and they're going to, he's going to replace himself with Sebastian Vettel, and then he doesn't retire for 10 years.
100%.
He just doesn't let go. That's all he needed to do. He just needed to say it, but then it doesn't actually ever happen.
What they need to do is just get him his own microphone and podcast, and he'll be set. He'll be so happy. He can just spout off.
No, they just need to turn on reruns and be like, "Yeah, Helmut, that's good. Sebastian won again this weekend. Great job. Good job with the program.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah,
enjoy it. Oh, this is fun. We win every week."
Yeah, that was great. Wow, those cars look familiar.
He would still say something but he would still have something to say well, I don't think Sebastian's really living up to his potential. It's like he wins every week. I don't think so.
Oh my God.
Speaking of potential, Josh alluded to it earlier when we brought up South Africa sponsoring Anthony Alfredo. I see where this is going, Josh. Kyalami, the Grand Prix circuit in South Africa. That's actually a really badass track. It has been approved for Grade 1 by the FAA. So this is plans. They approved the plans for the historic South African circuit on their march to hopefully getting an F1 race, which Lewis Hamilton has won in, a bunch of people. So it's a beautiful track, a ton of history. That would be super cool to see. I've driven it a lot on Sims, and I'd like to see that. I'd like to go to South Africa. It'd be a cool experience. So yeah, be fun.
Interesting.
The trend of only 2 people winning in the IndyCar series this year continued. Alex Palou won at Road America. Kyle Kirkwood and Alex Palou just continued to trade blows week after week, which has been interesting to see. But they had somebody watching potentially, of which I don't know if anyone would have suspected this. Global superstar. Josh, can you play the clip?
Yes. Let me make sure we have sound first.
Oh wow, my intro just got destroyed.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
No, go now.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Hold on. Fill up some time.
Wow, we've been asked to just vamp. In TV, we call this vamping. Josh.
You got this.
Honestly, unbelievable.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I can see because
what are we even talking about?
You just wait. You haven't heard it. You haven't heard this. I know you haven't heard this. You're going to be blown away. This is cool. It's very cool. It's cool for motorsports when he's able to play it.
MotoGP races, there's just not enough of them.
No, there's not.
So then you start dipping into F1 a little bit.
Yeah.
Now there's not enough F1 races, so I start dipping into Indy. You watching Indy?
No, I
Whoa,
can't.
Indy's
You're
great.
in?
Oh, I love MotoGP.
What? Brad Pitt, star of the new F1 movie, one of the greatest movie stars of all time, absolute global superstar, is an IndyCar fan. No reaction.
He's a great actor. He's a great promoter. Go watch the film.
Wow. You think he's BSing. I know he's a MotoGP fan. He has been for a long time. He did that documentary I love called Apex. But okay, you're a hater. I see how it is.
I'm not hating. No, I think it's awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You think he's selling? He's selling.
What? Why wouldn't he? Why is he on the show in the first place? He's bringing in the motorsports community. Come watch my movie.
Oh my goodness. I got sold so hard. So hard. I feel like such a goober. You're so right. Wow. I wish I had more cynicism like you.
We could probably get him on. We'll get him on the show. Let's just get Brad Pitt on the show. This
We
will be
will.
our opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get him on. We'll definitely get him on. We've just got the other guest today, so we'll have to get to.
Yeah.
Big
But we
surprise
can't-
coming.
Yeah, so we just have to. We'll have to do that first.
Speaking
Last-
of MotoGP,
Yeah, speaking of MotoGP, the last thing here on our rundown, Liberty Media had it officially approved by the European regulators to purchase 84% of MotoGP. They're the ones who obviously own F1 and have done what they've done with F1 and created this global phenomenon. They want to do the same in motorcycle racing. I have been surprised at MotoGP's lack of growth in the last 10 years, considering it's absolutely awesome. It's impossible to watch here in America unless you get their streaming deal. It's just not it's not in front of your face like on ESPN, like what they've done with F1. So I assume they're doing that. And they basically said the number one prerogative and goal is to grow in America. You got Team Trackhouse with a team there, Justin Marks. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. So
I don't mean to state the obvious.
Yep.
But I'll do it anyways. But MotoGP has that same. It's so similar to its other two-wheel counterpart, Supercross, where it is kind of a niche motorsport, yet it is a powerful niche, right? Like it has a dedicated, great brand, great fan base, but it just like stays in this circle, right?
Yeah.
Like where even throughout the years and the decades, like NASCAR and F1 fan base, I mean, they each have their core fan bases, but they're still transient in popularity, right? Where I feel like MotoGP, Supercross, they're just like this really tight core of fans that care about that and that only and go to everything. And MotoGP, I mean, MotoGP could very well be one of the next F1 type blow ups, potentially.
Yeah.
It has all the things. It has all the things that F1 has, right? It's got money. It's got technology. It's got luxury. It's got the athletes,
Yeah.
It's got that stuff.
Danger. All those things. You're right. It's European based, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I think it definitely can, but that was a great point about Supercross in it, where it's like this incredibly powerful and large, but niche. And like it's just never broken into
it's like you can draw like a
sports
clear
fan.
line.
Yep.
It's like there's a clear line between the fans and the non-fans, in my opinion. I don't know. So
no, it's a really good point. Really good point. Well, we'll see if they're able to pull it off. Is Liberty Media a one-trick pony, or can they do it twice? Strike lightning in the bottle. That's the question. Well, let's look ahead to this week in terms of picks. We got Atlanta. We mentioned that for Cup and Xfinity. We got Lime Rock for trucks. Let's go. And the Red Bull Ring for F1. Landon, you want to lead us off with some winner picks?
Yes, Cup, Atlanta. Let's go with Carson. Come on.
All right. It's a good pick.
You've been, you know what? Maybe this is. I'm mainly picking him just to piss you off if he wins, because you have fought for him so hard to get his first win, and then I just caught you red-handed on this show giving up on him. Nope, he's cooled off. Too much going on. So I'm going to strike and make my pick. He's going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to be the one holding the flag that says I called it. Never mind all of your predictions at the beginning of this year. You're getting no credit.
No. Makes sense. All right. I get it. I get it. Who you got for Xfinity at Atlanta?
Austin Hill.
Never even had to think. I was going to be like, does he do it or not?
Yep. Just an absolute, just went from one extreme to the other. Yeah, imagine if I just run the board here on this too. Lime Rock, I'm thinking Connor Mozak.
Whoa.
I'm just throwing that out there, but
is he in the race?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I hope. He better.
Did you check the
I get to call him
angels?
and help him find a ride now that I picked him. Formula One Max Verstappen at the Red Bull Ring.
All right, you were right. He is there.
Does
I think he's full time
think-
actually in trucks.
I think track. Oh my god. I think Track Limits is going to win this weekend, but
Oh really? It
I hope
wins.
not.
Ugh, I know that exit of the final corner is so annoying. All right, Cup. They say it's the peach state, but my winner is not a peach. Forever, his Instagram and Twitter handle description had him as just a lead foot leaned up on a souped up Chevy. The place will burn down because it is where he's from. His dad was known as Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. It's a Georgia native, Chase Elliott. Gonna go to Victory Lane. Xfinity.
Austin Hill from Dawsonville.
Austin Hill from Dawson. No, in Xfinity, I don't want Austin Hill. I need to do someone different. I'm going to flip it up.
I didn't say that I wanted Austin Hill. I just
I know, but
predicted
I
Austin
feel
Hill.
like at this point that the field has to basically
Nobody
just be
actually
like,
wants Austin Hill to win.
they can't just follow him. For once, they can't just follow him. I'm going to say Carson Quabble.
Oh,
How about that? In trucks, Cam Waters from V8 Supercars coming over
oh,
to win a truck race.
I could see that.
Yep. And in F1, I'm going to go with this guy needs it. And if he doesn't, this season is basically sunk. Landon Norris.
I like your lineup there.
Yeah, it's
good.
an interesting one. All right, Josh.
Let's I know how I believe I said Ryan Blaney wasn't going to he's not going to beat Carson Hocevar in my bracket, but I'm also predicting at the same time he's going to win the race. So that's going to be my pick is Ryan Blaney. I'm hedging my bets on both sides of the Blaney coin today. Xfinity, I'm going to go Almirola.
Oh, interesting. Toyota. Okay.
Is that a bad? Should I just go with Jesse Love and then just really? Nope. Okay, and then in trucks, I'm gonna go with Rodney Sandstorm. So
okay.
And then at the end of the day, it's always gonna be Piastri. It always was and always will be.
Wow. He is on his way to a championship. No new Apple reviews. How dare you all out there? If you like this show, send it to a friend, share with a friend, tell them you like it, tell them you like them as well. Give us a little love. We need new Apple reviews. We're at 200 and something. I don't know what it is, but we need more. Go leave us a 5-star review. Get on this show. We did have a comment on Spotify, and then I broke my thing here.
Lux from Lux. Another great episode. Perfect thing to listen to while recovering from the weekend. Turns out watching every second of racing that you can is not a good idea if you value sleeping, but that will never stop me. Lux makes a really good point. As I was reading that, I was thinking to myself, we basically picked 4 race winners for 4 races, which we do every single weekend. But if you watched them all, that's virtually 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours of watching racing between a Saturday and Sunday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is a lot of screen time.
It is insane, but what I found like on this off weekend this past weekend, the greatest invention ever has been the ability to watch on your cell phone. Because I'll be anywhere. I go to restaurants, bars, hang out, parties, friends, and I just have it over to the side beside me, or like an AirPod in, and I'm in conversation.
It just lowers the quality of my consumption.
Yeah,
because then what I find myself doing is like checking in, and if it doesn't look interesting, I'll just like turn it off and go back to what I'm doing.
Yep. That's a good point.
It does lower the quality of it a little bit, but hey, it's the accessibility is there. This other one is good too. Sorry, I'll just read both of them.
You just go ahead.
This is from TBNV FM 48. Random question for Parker and Landon: could NASCAR race at Zandvoort?
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be a problem.
Short answer is yes, but let me just bring this back to my dream of NASCAR having a proper Roval Stadium course with like elevation, banked corners. That would be cool. I just would love to see it. Nobody ever has to build it. It would be a total waste of money. It would probably be just a novelty. But how cool would that be?
Yeah, but it kind of is Zandvoort, the racetrack. So like
but I mean,
Netherlands, right? It has a banked turn 1, a banked corner in turn 3 or 4, whatever that is. It has the downhill. Like I know what you're saying, like a real Roval, but like in place it anywhere in the world. I'm just saying, if you were to pick one, like of course that would be the situation. I'm sure NASCAR Euro Series has racing Zandvoort. I'm almost 100% sure on that. Absolutely could happen. I think NASCAR definitely is investigating international races all over. I just saw some reports from Adam Stern that NASCAR has inquiries from cities all over the U.S. that are interested in having races. There was even a report out there from the Philadelphia Inquirer that had potentially NASCAR's discussing 39, 40 races, but the teams have obviously balked at that because it's already a short season. I think the key with that is that you need the funding to be behind it, right? So either somebody's got to pay, right? It's either going to, if you go over to the Netherlands like that, it's either going to be the Netherlands that pays Zandvoort, the promoter, something like that makes it financially worthwhile for NASCAR to go over there. You need a market that's worth going, for them to go to, that's going to expand potentially, the fan base, going to expand the marketing dollars that come into the sport, right? And the last thing is it has to somehow fit in all the schedule, right?
When you have to have a facility that can handle it.
Yeah, and a facility that can handle it. So that's 4 things. So I think those are the prerequisites for these sorts of things. Absolutely, it can race anywhere. You can put a race car anywhere in the world, basically. Maybe not Everest, but maybe at the bottom.
Well, I stand by my desire, which is, yes, I would love to see races in Zandvoort and all over the world, whatever. That's cool. I think that they should dig up Texas Motor Speedway. And they should turn it into a stadium Roval where there's a long straightaway, there's like a total bowl-shaped corner, there's an off-camber corner, there's a elevation change, there's a platform corner, like there's a banked hairpin, and it's just like a total roller coaster ride.
Oh my God, dude, you could do like uphill and then back down and then up again like a Hot Wheels track. You could do that in real life.
Like a literal Hot Wheels track.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be so cool. You're onto it. We got to make that happen. That has to be the next frontier. 100%.
Like a long sweeping corner that's got 35 degrees banking.
No, it's so
like
genius.
A long one.
I feel like I've
wrapped in stands, basically. So it's like a stadium road course thing.
Yes.
That's such a great idea.
Isn't this on one of those NASCAR arcade racing tracks? I feel like this is one of those tracks that you would race in an arcade game.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's genius.
NASCAR should listen to their actual core audience, who were the gamers who took NR2K3 and spent their entire childhoods designing tracks and making cars. They should actually listen to those people who know racing better than almost anybody and be like, all right, what kind of track
it's a genius
should
idea.
We build?
So genius.
That's what I want to see.
We should bring it up with our guest, who's finally here and ready to come on. Wait, what? No.
Where's he at?
No, I'm hearing. Oh my goodness. He dropped off. That is just so devastating. It must be something with the connection of you in Vegas. There you can see, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can see just bars. All right, well, there's next week. We're going to keep trying. It's at this point, it's just insane. Anyway, we appreciate you watching, listening. We'll work to have Kyle Busch on. He desperately needs a win, so hopefully he'll be the winner at Atlanta. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where. But nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.